Hello, everybody. My name is Ana Rezende, and in this podcast, I will share my transformational journey to become a health coach. In each episode, I will address a different subject that impacts our health, whether physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. Because I've learned that being healthy means being in balance. If you would like to make amazing discoveries, improve your health, get inspired, and yet find sustainable ways to live and help the planet, tune in. You are in the right place. I'm your host, Ana Rezende, and Good is What Makes You Feel Well is Mama Terra's podcast.
Toma banho de cachoeira, abraça uma pessoa amiga, corre na chuva, escala a montanha, contempla a vista, transcende, levita.
In today's episode, I am talking to Maddy Keck, the head of mentorship at Awakenpedia. Maddy graduated with great honors from Savannah College of Art and Design in 2021 with a bachelor's in advertising and branding. She was also the college national competitive equestrian champion individually and as a team rider. After working for a while in her field, she realized the kind of marketing she was doing did not align with her core values. So at the beginning of 2022, Maddy embarked on a self-discovery journey that took her to new places outside the country and inside herself. After this time, she committed to a life of presence, love, and holistic health. In 2023, after being Chopra certified as a spiritual life and well-being coach, Maddy finally found a way to use all her skills for the greater good. At Awakenpedia, alongside founder Cam Kirdzic, she has been building a beautiful online presence for an awesome community of like-minded people with the shared purpose of helping each other discover who they truly are. Maddy is a sweet, kind, talented, independent, brave, and pretty young lady. We had such a profound and beautiful conversation that it's hard to believe she is only 26 years old. Please welcome Maddy Keck. All right, good morning, Maddy. Welcome to Good is What Makes You Feel Well.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited. You're popping my podcast cherry, so I'm excited for this.
Yeah, so excellent. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So to start our conversation, I would like to ask you what in this moment of your life makes you feel well?
Yeah, I would say most presently for me right now in this phase of my life is to just allow myself to feel everything. The, good, the bad, everything in between. And I think so often, we're taught and kind of conditioned to, emotions make you weak. You should, I have a history of dissociation and kind of just numbing and suppressing those emotions, and have recently had some emotional challenges come up in my life, and through that has inspired me to witness everything that I'm experiencing, the grief, the sadness, the heartbreak. And I feel like it's interesting because through a lot, like opening myself up to those more uncomfortable emotions, it's almost expanding my capacity to feel all around. And I feel like you deepen your connection to yourself, you deepen your connection to source, to God, to the universe, to whatever you want to call it. And it's like with any other relationship, say you're in a relationship with another person, when you're vulnerable with them, it allows you to deepen that connection to them. And just like any other relationship, you have a relationship to yourself. So when you allow yourself to sit in that discomfort, sit in those emotions, it deepens that connection to yourself as well. And like I said, these are all, I'm speaking from very present experience in all of this right now. So it's something that I've struggled with for a long time. And I'm just kind of witnessing the beauty of truly just like sitting with those feelings and emotions. And I notice my mind wanting to push it away. Like I'll be getting ready for bed, taking my pillows off my bed and just like feel it's not even like a voice in the head. It's just like this feeling that's trying to push away the emotion. And because I am aware of that, I'm like, okay, I get it. I don't necessarily want to feel it either, but we have to. So because I'm aware of that, I can take a deep breath and I can just be with it. And I think a lot of people know at this point that emotions, they only really last 90 seconds if we feel them. If we don't feel them, they can last days, weeks, years, decades, lifetimes. But if we can just be with it for those 90 seconds, like really be with it and feel it, we can allow it to move through us and then witness all of the other things that can come from sitting with that discomfort. So I guess kind of a long-winded way of saying to feel my feelings and yeah, witnessing the magic that comes from it.
That is so beautiful. And it's the same way that I feel. The fact that we go through what we go through is just to make us better and stronger. The secret is not feeling better, it's getting better at feeling.
Yeah, yes, I
Right?
love that.
Yeah, that is from Zach Bodenweber. And that is so true. That is what we need to do. We need to get better our feeling because that is how we are made to
Yeah.
be. So we are made to feel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to just embrace it all with acceptance and love and surrender. Because like when we feel discomfort, we immediately like close up and we want to push it away. And I think that's just like what this society has been built on is, not feeling those things. Like I said, emotions make you weak, feeling that makes you weak. To show what you're feeling is not widely accepted. But yeah, to actually feel it opens you up to so much more.
Absolutely. Yeah. So tell me how feeling well evolved in your life. I know at this moment it's new discoveries and a new phase and how that evolved.
Mm. How has feeling well evolved? That's a good one for me because I feel like I always had this idea of myself as being a generally healthy person, a well, just like I've always been interested in wellness and exercising and diet and things like that. However, the way it's evolved in the last several years is very, very different from how it was 5, 10 years ago, because at that time, my idea of wellness and of health was what can I do in the gym that's going to make me the skinniest and have like the best abs? What can I eat that's going to like give me the same result? Like it was all based on what's going to make me look the best. It wasn't based on necessarily what's going to make me feel the best. And like those things that I was doing in the gym, like it was toxic. All of it was toxic. It was brought up shame, it brought up guilt and just self-judgment, body shame. So it's wildly changed since then. Now I don't work out to have the best abs. I work out to move my body, to connect with my breath. If I'm running outside to feel, the elements of the outdoors, I'm eating to fuel my body. And I think like my wellness routine has shifted to more of a spiritual routine and focused on that connection between me and a like higher self. Like I said before, you can call it whatever you want. So it's shifted way more from like a egoic wellness routine to a spiritually rounded presence practice.
Yeah. So I love that. I have been trying to convey the same message because I think that is the very key for everything, for diseases, for the way we look, how we feel. the key is connecting with the motive.
Mm-hmm.
And the most important motive is for you to feel well. It's you, with your essence. And that is the biggest motive that we need to find. And then we'll find joy in doing the things because they just make us feel well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit about, you said you had body shame. How was that?
Everyone kind of has their own pathway to spirituality, to awakening. And I would say mine is largely to do with body image and how I perceive myself and like the anxiety that comes along with that. So I think for women especially tend to struggle with that because, this society has kind of made us believe that our body is our worth. And I believed that for a very long time. And it was crippling, to be honest. Everything I did was around that. Everything, it affects relationships, it affects how I show up in everything that I do. And it didn't really change until I started questioning all of that and questioning why I was doing the things that I was doing. Like you said, it all comes down to the motive. And I started questioning like why I was working out, why I was in the job that I was, why, I was doing everything that I was doing because the things that I was doing that was supposed to make me happy were causing anxiety and depression and stress. And I think it all comes down to the body is what I was identifying with because that's where I thought my worth came from.
Is there a reason for that, or why did you feel that way?
I think part of it is how I, was raised. I was in I've been a competitive horseback rider pretty much my entire life, and that industry can be a very toxic one, especially at the higher competition levels. It's kind of like some people are more familiar with like the dancing and how you have to be tall and skinny and have a certain body type, and that's what people like, and it's all about that judgment. And I think that was a lot of what I was feeling and growing up in that, from the time I was born, basically in that industry. It kind of creates that self-judgment in your mind and makes you think about what everyone else is thinking about you, mixed with family dynamics and relationships to the men in my life and comments. It's funny because certain comments that people probably don't mean anything by, and I've talked to my dad, for instance, about comments that he made when I was a kid that I still remember, that like stuck with me and would replay in my mind when I would look in the mirror. And he doesn't even remember them, but we latch on to these sayings that people have said to us throughout our life, and then that ends up affecting everything. So it's just funny how that happens. And I think that's has been a big part of my body image journey and self-acceptance journey, has been just like coming to terms with those things and how people can say things just, they say them for their own reasons. It's really has nothing to do with you. What he has said, what other people have said that I've latched on to has nothing to do with me and everything to do with them and how they see themselves. So I think that's been a big thing to help me overcome that self-judgment and body image, body shame issues that I've been through.
Yeah. But this is the kind of shield that is important. Instead of shielding the emotions that come from within, we need to shield the things external to not hit us.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the real shield that we need to put up.
Yeah. I was just going to say like boundaries, like healthy boundaries, not shutting yourself out, like putting walls up, but just having healthy boundaries with relationships, with other people, with how you interpret things. Boundaries can sometimes be interpreted as putting walls up, but I think there's a big difference between, those shields, like you're saying.
Yeah. And when you mention things that your dad said, it just brought many memories of my childhood and what my dad used to say and my mom used to say, because I was raised on this environment that women has to have perfect nails, always manicured, because men don't like women with dirty hands. Girls have to sit a certain way because men don't like women that sit, not in an elegant way, I would
Yeah.
say. So all
Mm.
that has so much power over the way we grow up.
Mm.
And that is the shield that we have to have.
Mm.
And with my daughter, that is what I try to do, to tell her that she's perfect in all the ways. And she doesn't have to listen to anything that people say.
Yeah.
And one thing that bothers me so much is, like you were saying about the body image and doing a sport and whatnot, and the family dynamics and all. I have this very strong in my family. So every time we talk to grandparents, they want to see the kids. And then the first thing that they say is that you are so beautiful. And every time it's the same thing. Oh, but you are so pretty. Oh, you're okay. She is pretty, but she's also so smart,
So much more.
independent. She
Mm.
has so many other qualities. Why are we focusing so much on that?
Mm.
Because that is the shift, I think, us as a society, as moms, as a community, this is the shift that we need to make. Since they're little, we just have to focus on other things, other strengths, other skills that they have,
Mhm.
not so much in the image. And that is what
Yeah.
builds the ego, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we think that we are this body, because that is what people are focusing on.
Yeah. And it's funny because, like I'm just thinking about what you said about when you see a grandparent and they say, "Oh, you're so beautiful," or I'm thinking of a specific memory with my grandma when I saw her after a while and she goes, "Oh, honey, you're so skinny." And in my mind, I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so skinny." Like, yes. But you would never say that to a boy. You would never say that to a guy. You wouldn't say, "Oh, you're so pretty." You'd say, "Hi, oh, I miss you." Oh, there wouldn't be anything about likely, their appearance or their body or how they're looking, how fit they are, things like that. But for women, for some reason, people think about that. That's just, the societal conditioning. And as you were talking, I was bringing up a lot about like the masculine and the feminine, and being raised, and my family was three boys, two girls, me and my mom, and then I had two brothers and my dad. So it was outnumbered on the male side. And I feel like I'm just now starting to come into touch with my femininity, because it was always like, my mom, of course, we would have our feminine things that we would do. But even like I would walk out of the house, walk out of my room in like a cute dress, or, wear makeup. And my brothers would be like, "What are you wearing? Like, what are you doing? Like, who are you?" Or I would like go get my nails done. They'd be like, "So you're like a little prissy girl now?" Things like that. And I don't mean to speak badly about them. Those are just, things that is their own conditioning. They're very kind-hearted people. But I feel like for so long, my femininity was shut down and shamed. And I kind of embraced this super masculine persona and like hardness to me. Like I had to be strong. I couldn't show emotion. I had to be super fit. I had to, be the best at this. I had to succeed. I had to, all of those really masculine energies. And I'm just now like coming into the more softness of the feminine. And there's a Taylor Swift line in one of my favorite songs of hers. It's called Sweet Nothing. And the line is, to you, I can admit that I'm just too soft for all of it. And the first time I heard that line, I just started crying because I was like, I think I am. Like, I really am on the inside soft, like, yes, I'm strong and independent, and women are incredibly powerful, but I also have a softness to me, and it's okay to show it. So it took a long time, and I'm still on the journey of accepting that softness and embracing it. And it comes back to the feelings.
It does, absolutely. And I feel the same way on the hardness side. Going back to my father, he used to call me tomboy because I was always very active. I was always running around on the streets with the boys and, running and climbing trees and climbing walls. And then I got into engineering and I was working in male dominant environment for so long that I also had this hard time connecting with my feminine until probably I become a mom. I'm thinking now, horseback riding, is that a male dominant sport?
It's not in the way that I was doing it in like the show jumping part. It's actually very feminine dominant.
Okay.
But most of my trainers were males. So again, I was like seeking that male approval, and like, yeah, that brings up a whole other thing.
It is really interesting. Really interesting. Yeah. So you mentioned your wellness routine. Tell me how you take care of yourself and what does wellness routine look like?
Yeah, that's also something that evolves often, I feel like. So right now, what it is different than it was, a few months ago. And then at times, sometimes, we fall off of it and we come out of those practices, but, always with the intention to come back into it and accepting the ebbs and flows. But right now, what's really helping me is journaling. I started this book. It's more of a course than a book, but it's called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. You're familiar with it?
I'm super familiar with it.
Yeah. So I just started it. I'm on week 1. But part of it, as you know, are the daily morning pages, 3 pages of just stream of consciousness journaling. And that's been really, really helpful for me because, as someone who's judged myself so much, and I've kind of shut down my voice a little bit and my creativity, and that creativity is a more feminine trait. I don't know what to call it. So that like daily stream of consciousness, just no judgment, just putting everything, whatever thoughts come into your head on the paper, has been so helpful. Because even if you have, sometimes I'll start journaling and I'm like, or I want to journal, but I have nothing to say. And I'm like, oh, but I don't have anything to write about, so I'm not going to do it. But with this, it like reading the first part of it, she's just like, whatever it takes to fill 3 pages. If you have nothing to say, right, I have nothing to write. I have nothing to write. I have nothing to write, until you fill 3 pages. And likely we have like 60,000 thoughts a day or something. Something's going to come up. Write it down. And it's interesting because yesterday, actually, I was just writing. I didn't really have much to say. And I had 2.5 pages of just like blurt, like just whatever nonsense. And then in the last half page, something was uncovered that seemed to be out of nowhere. And I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. This is what this is for. And it like was showing me like where I perhaps had blocked my creativity, where that stems from. So I'd say that's the most prominent practice for me in my wellness routine right now is journaling. And since I've been doing that, it's like opened me up, and I've been writing more than 3 pages a day, which is crazy because like I never like one page was like a lot for me before, you know? So I'd say journaling and being outside nature, as you know, we have this in common, is a very, I feel my divinity I can connect to most powerfully when I'm surrounded by nature, whether it's with an animal, in the woods, at the beach, in the ocean. Some form of nature brings out that divinity within me and allows me to more deeply connect with it. So whether I go on a walk or just kind of sit in the grass and meditate or read or something like that, I try to bring that into my wellness routine as well. And diet as also is something like cooking is kind of like a presence practice for me. And it's cool because you get that part of it, and then also the fueling your body with, you know, healthy ingredients, high energy, high vibration foods, you know, natural whole foods and things like that. So those are probably the three top things for me right now.
It is so interesting.
I want to hear what you have to say about this
Oh
course.
my gosh, it is so interesting because every person that I have invited for the podcast so far, I feel that it was not by chance.
Mm.
And when you started talking about the morning pages have been magical for me.
Mm.
Julia Cameron was in my training course. She was a lecturer.
Oh.
And she is an absolutely adorable old lady. I just, you know, when you sympathize with the person, I mean, she's lovely. Then we had this assignment to try the morning pages. And I was really intrigued by the way she talked about it. And I said, yeah, I'll give it a try. So I started doing it in September 2022. That was the year I did my training.
Yeah.
Maddy, I have never stopped.
Oh my gosh.
I have so many journals, like I have a pile of them.
Mm-hmm.
My creativity, it's mind blowing.
Mm-hmm.
What happened with me? I actually wrote about it in my blog a few weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, because it's been incredible. Incredible. Everything that I've created so far for my business came from my morning pages. Everything, like the intro in the podcast, many different blog post ideas, posts, my program, the name of my program. No, everything that you can imagine. Such a powerful routine, and I cannot see my life without it. You know,
Yeah.
it's
I
my
can see it.
moment.
Yeah, I see it becoming that for me too, because it's been about a week that I've been doing it now, and it's like I'm already seeing and recognizing the benefits of it. Before I started it even too, I've always wanted to have like a consistent journaling practice, and I go through like spurts where I'll do it for a month and then I'll stop for 2 months and then I'll do it for a couple weeks, and then you know it just kind of goes in and out like that. And every time I come back to it, I'm like, I need to keep doing this. I need to keep doing this because it's so beneficial, especially for me because I have a hard time expressing myself, especially verbally. So to like just have a place where I can put everything and anything that I'm thinking in there, that's like a safe space. No one's probably going to read it. If I want to share it, I can, but I'm able to recognize patterns. I'm able to recognize opportunities, see the lessons in it, see how I'm handling things, see how I'm evolving, and how maybe I would have handled it a year ago versus now, or, you know, 2 months ago versus now. So it just makes it so much easier to recognize those things. You know, I reflect in my thoughts sometimes, but it's always like all around, like kind of scattered, disorganized. So to like put it down on a piece of paper, write it out, get it out of my head and onto like a more organized space is so helpful. So I'm excited to keep going with it. I see it becoming something that I do. Like, I'm like, why would I just do it for the 12 weeks? Like, I want to keep doing it after that.
Yeah, I think that she puts in a way that she knows people are going to get hooked.
Mm-hmm.
Do it
Yeah.
for 12 weeks and you are hooked for life.
Yep.
And she knows. And she knows. And something really special that she says is that he nudges you in the right direction.
Yep.
And that is so, so true.
Mm-hmm.
It is incredible. Yeah, this is one of my favorites too. I have this feeling that you are gonna be hooked.
Yeah.
And you're gonna love it.
I love that it's about creativity too, because I think like I love how she words it's recovery of your creativity, because we're all innately a creative being, right? To be alive is to be creative, is to create. So to recover that, because the ego mind is what covers up the creativity. So it's, and how she says that a creative journey is a spiritual journey and a spiritual journey is a creative journey. And I've always felt like I am a creative person. Like I've always, as when I was growing up, like I would always write and draw and just I danced and I wanted to be an actress and a singer and like all of these creative things. And then I feel like over time that kind of got covered up. It got seen as like a hobby. And what I realized in my morning pages yesterday was that like I've my dad had his own company, construction company growing up, and I was always seen as the one who was going to like take that over because I had the mind for it. I was the smart one of the family, you know.
Mm.
And I was like being praised for that. So I was like, oh, so that's like where the career is supposed to go. It's supposed to go in like the business direction, not the creative direction. These are just hobbies. But I always still felt pulled to creativity. I went to art school. Like I went to Savannah College of Art and Design. I was still pulled there, but still, even the 4 years that I was there, like almost had like imposter syndrome. Like I felt like a fraud when I was there because I didn't fully let my creativity have a space to be. So I'm really excited to keep going with this, with the artist way. I think it's gonna be really profound for me for all of those reasons, because yeah, I feel like creativity is such a big part of my life, of everyone's life, but I feel it so strongly.
Yeah. And I think you do it so well. I mean, seeing your videos and the beautiful, I I have to ask you this. The
Mhm.
posts on Awakenpedia, you make them all.
I do.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say because they are incredible. They are pieces
Mhm.
of art. They are.
Thank you.
They're super professional. I mean, everything looks so professional. I've said this before, but you guys have just, oh my goodness, it
Mm.
is always so beautiful. And yeah, now
Thank
it
you.
makes
Yeah.
sense that you do have a very creative side and you have to nurture that. Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah, and I have to give credit to Cam as well, because he is a lot of the ideation part of those posts is from him, and then I do more of like the design stuff of it. So it's a collaborative effort, him and I.
Yeah, that is wonderful. Yeah, and even in your put on my face or in your
Food in my
face,
face.
the videos and how beautiful they look. You have this very natural way of doing pretty. Like,
Doing pretty. Thank
yeah,
you.
and I love the videos, the funny part of them. It's really amazing. So you said something about taking over the business of the family and how that is all playing now for you, that you feel your creative side and you are this more expensive being now. So do you see your path like taking over that business?
Well, the business actually, when I was a teenager, ended up not existing anymore. So that was kind of off the table a while back. So I went to SCAD for advertising and branding, and I thought that I was gonna, go work in an agency in New York City or something like that. All of that ended up changing when COVID happened, which I feel like everyone's plans kind of got uplifted and thrown into another world when that happened. But I ended up buying a horse of my own, a young horse, and I like brought her up and was gonna resell her. So I ended up moving. My last year of college was virtual because of COVID. So I moved down to Florida, which is where there's a big horse show, and where kind of was just where we needed to be for me to get eyes on her, get people to buy her. So I moved there and I ended up working in, when I graduated, I worked in my major doing marketing for an equestrian brand, equine treadmills. I was doing their marketing. I suppose I still didn't feel like I was utilizing my creativity to the fullest when I
Mhm.
was in marketing, because something I think just felt off about marketing in the typical sense. It's like manipulation and trying to like convince people that they need something that they don't really need, that this is going to make you more whole type of thing. And that just like didn't really vibe with me. And I think I knew it deep down before I knew it consciously. So I didn't feel aligned with that. And, of course, again, like I did all of the things that I was supposed to do. I went to college, got good grades, graduated with honors, was captain of my equestrian team, like got the job doing what my major was when I graduated, combining like what I thought were my two passions, horses, which still is, and marketing. All of those things were like what you have to do, like cookie cutter. These are the steps to happiness. And of course that didn't happen. I got all of those things. Worked for, I think, about 2 years in that, and just experienced like really intense disillusionment of the crash of this is going to make you happy and it not turning out to make me happy. It actually turning out to make me more anxious and more depressed and just not feel like I was really living. So at that point, I quit my job. Within a couple of weeks of having that realization, I was like, I can't keep doing this because I'm aware of the misalignment here. So I quit my job. I put everything I own in storage. I ended up traveling for a few months. And then when I got back from those travels, that ended up being kind of the catalyst for me to really go on this like self-discovery journey and just like sit with myself and meditate and journal and not really do much for about a year. And then I guess the close of that year, I felt like I wanted to kind of participate in the world again in a more conscious way. So I ended up taking a spiritual life coaching program with Chopra. So I'm a certified spiritual life and well-being coach. And then Awakenpedia came about, and Cam, created it initially, and then we felt aligned on it and thought that it would kind of serve us to collaborate and come together and build it together. So that's when Awakenpedia come about, and that's been the last year of building that, and it's been really incredible. And I feel that as I continue to go on this journey and come more into myself, into my authenticity, into my self-expression, I'm kind of feeling pulled into various modalities and ways to serve. Breath work is something that I'm really passionate about and have had really profound experiences myself, and is something that I, see myself facilitating. So that's something that I'm wanting to kind of step more into and find a program that I want to work with to get certified in that. Yoga is another one. with food in my face, cooking is something. So there's a lot of like different things, different kind of branches that I see myself serving in. And I think that's a cool part about life and what I'm coming to accept is that we don't have to do the same thing forever. We're not stuck in anything. For a long time, I felt like, you find a major in college, you get a job in that major, and you work that for the rest of your life until you retire at 65 or whatever, and then you can do whatever you want. And that always felt like I didn't want to be locked into something like that. I didn't like that. So it's been cool to kind of see like how I can flow into different things and do different things at different times that because like I personally certain modalities serve me better at one point than it does at another. So why can't I, expand what I do and how I serve, how I show up in the world with all of these different tools? It's not to say that I'll necessarily stop doing something else. It's just adding to my repertoire.
Absolutely. And how wonderful is Awakenpedia on that? Because
Yeah.
then you can use your knowledge and your skills on marketing to build something that is what we want people to want, right?
Yeah.
You're not pushing any piece of clothing or shoes. You are pushing people to what is really
Yeah.
important.
Yep.
And you can still work on all the different modalities because it's all together for the same reason.
Hmm.
So that is wonderful. That is like real, fully alignment in life. And that is why it's going so well because it is fully alignment on both sides, like
Yeah.
with you and Cam, and it's wonderful. I knew there was something on marketing, design, creation, something. It had to be something. And so, yeah, that's you.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's been a cool realization too of like we're we're not selling anything to anybody. We're just putting it out there. And if this is something that you want, this is something that you resonate with, it's here. But there's no pressure, there's no anything. It's just simply an invitation, it's a presentation of a resource for both, healers and people who are on the spiritual journey. So, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yes. I'm so excited for this future.
Me too.
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. So, for us to wrap up, whoever is listening to us, if they feel aligned with this mission, with your work, how would you like people to connect with you? Are you doing life coaching or any coaching of any kind?
Yeah. So with Awakenpedia, we have different kind of arms of it. Like I said, if you're a healer or if you're just someone who's on the spiritual journey that's looking for a supportive community and resources to kind of support you along the way, it's totally free for members. You can join just on awakenpedia.com. We have events, we have virtual and on-site retreats, and just a variety of resources for you, as well as, like I said, just a beautiful community. And then for healers, if you're a holistic healer and you're interested in kind of exploring partnership with us, Anna is a wonderful partner of ours. We
Oh,
love her.
thank you.
So if you are also interested in being a partner and exploring that potential, you can shoot me an email or just go on our website. There's a partnership tab. You can go there, you can apply, you can schedule a call with us. And that's just awakenpedia.com. And I think we'll put my email in the description.
Yeah, we'll put everything on the notes. Whatever you want,
Okay.
we'll put on the notes.
Okay. Yeah, I also am a Chopra certified spiritual life and well-being coach. So I work in one-on-one containers with people. So if you're interested in that, you can also shoot me an email. And then I have a food blog, like we mentioned, called Food in My Face. It's just on Instagram right now, but I have, a larger vision and intentions with it to expand over time. but it's just the Instagram URL is food in my face with underscores between each word. And yeah, like I said, I'm intending to kind of continue growing my modalities of service. So stay tuned.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. This is just a beautiful web because everything that you're doing now is just connecting the dots, and it's so beautiful. Yeah, I'm excited to see. But the most important part is for us to enjoy the moment, and I feel that you are enjoying every moment that is presented to you, right?
Yeah, it kind of circles back to the beginning of just embracing everything with acceptance and love and surrender, regardless of what it is, if it's comfortable or not, because it's all there to serve you.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. What a beautiful conversation. I loved it. I loved it. Thank you so much. I'll have all your information in the notes so people can find out about Awakenpedia. It's a wonderful, beautifully done community. Thanks to Maddy and Cam. You guys are wonderful, and
Thank you.
thank you so much. I loved it.
I feel like there was something else I wanted to say on Awakenpedia, if it would be possible to
Yeah, of course.
Back when we were talking about like its purpose, how like we're pushing people not to sell them, but we're pushing them to help them discover who they are. You know, rather than trying to make them think that they're somebody that they're not, we're helping them to uncover that ego that's, you know, covering up their essence, and to come back to that groundedness, that rootedness of their essential purpose, their essential identity, who they truly are.
Yeah.
So I think that's just what I wanted to say about it. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of emphasize how it's the purpose of the platform is to help people remember who they truly are.
Yeah. Yeah. It's beautiful. Perfect.
Yeah. Whether it's through like various modalities, whether it's through events or, you know, a retreat experience, you know, like we have dozens and dozens of modalities that we serve. So there really is something for everyone. And I think everyone kind of finds that pathway of which modality helps them to realize that essence.
Yeah, because there's so many ways. All the paths lead to the same place, and that is inside us, our essence.
Yeah.
And it's
that's what that first retreat that we did, that first virtual retreat that you were a part of, was it was called Pathways to Healing for that purpose, was because, you know, we were presenting, you know, the top 20 or so most popular holistic healing modalities that can serve as the vehicle to the top of the mountain, because each pathway, you know, there's dozens and dozens of pathways, but they all lead to the same place. So again, whether it's like breath work or nature walking or nutrition or yoga or whatever it is, their essential purpose is to lead you to that same place, that same realization.
Yeah. So speaking about retreats, are you guys planning a new one, virtual or in person, or do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so the next one that we're planning, we're in the brainstorming phase of it, is going to be another virtual one that we're intending to have in August. And the intention for it is to be kind of have a focus and theme on dissolving anxiety. So different ways, resources, modalities to help you dissolve anxiety.
Yeah, very good one.
Which is so prominent.
Yeah.
I think for so many people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, be on the lookout for that. It's news coming up.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. You. Anything else you would like to say?
I don't think so. I think that's everything. But thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. My heart is full.
Me too. Thanks for giving me a nice, comfortable, safe first podcast experience.
Anytime, we'll do a second one.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Anna.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you guys so much for listening. It means a lot to me that you chose to be here,
To help Mama Terra's mission of making the world a disease-free place for generations to come, you can follow the show, write a review, or talk to your friends about it. You can also subscribe to my newsletter. Every week, I craft good health and wellness tips, recipes, and book recommendations with love and care, just for you. My intention is to give you information and resources to help you make good choices and feel well. Find the link to subscribe in the show notes. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you again for being here. We have lots of new episodes coming up, so stay tuned. And remember, good is what makes you feel well.
Toma banho de cachoeira, abraça uma pessoa